Good evening, everyone, and welcome. Day number 609. You have to excuse me. I've got to do one thing. I promised my friend I would share this, so I'm sorry. I have so much happening when the stream is going. Let me do this right here and paste and send. Thank you. All right, I got it done. I've done what I promised. Thank you guys for being here. Day 609, October the 25th, 2023. I see you guys in there talking, and welcome to all of you. So thank you for being here. And a lot we're going to get into tonight, a lot of good stuff. But I saw it in the chat there, I think from Nate Fody. What's Newsom doing with Xi in China? That's really good question there. I mean, why on earth? You know, what's going on? Secondly, I hunted all day to try to find the background from Tucker last night. I think it's Buenos Aires, but I can't confirm it. It's still possible Moscow. Regardless, I think it's one of those two places for sure, but I'm going to keep hunting, so I promise that. Secondly, somebody was in here last night asking about Ukrainian dog names. Zhenya sent them to me, so I will be getting that to you. A lot of stuff happened today, not only in Ukraine, but Israel and Turkey and the United States as well. So we're going to see what's unfolding and take a peek at it. But before we do that, thank you guys for being here. And I appreciate all of you very, very much. We've got a great community. Great community. Ricochet. Lay it on me, Greg. We've been having a good conversation. If you guys like reading the chat there prior to the stream, because once I get it live, I'm getting a lot of things. The last 2 hours before I go live, a lot of things are happening, as you guys know, to get the information out there. So, but I'm watching the chat and we're having a chat, but it's all good because we are, as it says, we're a big family in here and we appreciate all of you. And honestly, nobody knows all of the answers. We just know from our experience and our friends and our connections, the language, and we do our best to tell the truth. So I think we validated that through 609 days. First of all, I can't believe it is day 609. I remember so vividly February the 24th, 2022, Zhenya and I we were talking that night, and I had him on my regular program. It was called PG and Barney Show. And because Barney Fife was my sidekick, and I was interviewing him, we were just talking about the buildup on the border. And then he says, a missile just hit us. And we've been here ever since. We really thought it would be 7 to 10 days. And here we are at 609. And additionally, not only 609, but we're also this close to a regional or global war there in Israel. And I believe that's probably going to happen. I really do. I don't think we're missing it this time. Yeah, Mark McLaren, that's the quickest 3-day operation in the history of the world. So now I can tell you guys here, if I go to the front lines, nothing has really changed over the last 24 hours. We were just here last night. Everything remains the same here. That's the Kupiansk front. We come down. This is Siversk. I can tell you that Avdiivka is still very ugly. And in Avdiivka, Russia is closing it on the northern side. They are coming in aggressively and continually. I zoomed too much for us there. Everything here stays the same. We come around to the south, and by now you guys know all of this. I'll zoom out for you. Here's Zaporizhia. This is the pocket. I will tell you, Ukraine made another push at Verbovi here on this village south of Orikhiv. But we've developed a line here, and there's really not much movement. As far as everything else, especially toward Kherson, nothing changes. Although we are getting some information that down here between Kherson and Berislav, Ukraine has taken control of a road on the left side of the river. We'll see as it comes forward on that. And then Kherson, the same, daily shelling nonstop. We're going to start tonight with this Khmelnitsky assault. Title of the program tonight, Khmelnitsky region and nuclear power plant assault. Stand with Ukraine and Israel. I'm going to give you everything as I know it. Before we do that, we can look at this and see if it changes. Right now, all quiet on the air alarms. So here's where we're at. You remember last night, all those drones are flying around. In fact, I had put up Zhenya's messages to me. Says, man, the drones are flying around. Got 4. There's another one flying around. And that continued after the stream was over. And eventually, northern Khmelnitsky region was struck. So if you're looking at that map right there and you see Zelensky's head, to the left is Khmelnitsky. That's our base city. Due north, you have Krasilov, then Starokonstantinov. Then you keep going north, you have Shepetovka, Slavuta, and also over to the left, you have the Zaporozhye nuclear power plant. Khmelnitsky, the city, was not hit. The northern region. So, first of all, let me tell you how far that is away. From Khmelnitsky up to Shepetovka is 110 kilometers, over 60 miles. From Starokonstantinov to Slavuta and the nuclear power plant is about 75 kilometers, 70 to 75 kilometers. Starokonstantinov is the city that has the air base. North, Shepetovka at the beginning of the war was the base of an air defense brigade, but they've been deployed. They're gone. Slavuta, a city of 35,000, has 0 military infrastructure. 0. If I do this, let me help you out here. So if we come down, I will tell you something else that's interesting here. You see the city of Vinica right there. This would be the city due east of Khmelnitsky. We go through there all the time. They're having an outbreak of hepatitis A, and they can't find the source of it. It's over 80 cases, and it's really weird. So remember, we don't do conspiracies here, but it is interesting. So here's Khmelnitsky. You leave, you come up to Starokonstantinov. You then go out of Starokonstantinov. You come up into the area of Shepetovka, Slavuta, and Nitishin. All through the woods here. Starokonstantinov is the city that has the air base. It's right here. This is the air base. Everybody knows about it. Russia tries to hit it all the time. Khmelnitsky itself, earlier in the war, did have some munitions stored there. Remember, they were blown up. They're not there now, as far as we know. Additionally, Khmelnitsky has very little military infrastructure. There's a little bit in there, but I'm not going to zoom in. But helicopter pilots are trained there, but they're not trained in the city. There's no helicopter pads or airport for military. There's just the training center, education. They are trained elsewhere on the equipment. Other than that, you've got a little border guard. That's it. That's Khmelnitsky. So you have Khmelnitsky and you have Starokonstantinov. That's your base. Now, if you come up and you get to Slavuta and Shepativka, right here, you see this strip of woods right here? All the dark green? Okay. It's a major area of persecution for Jews during World War II. Massive. So many markers, so many places. It's crazy. Regardless, Slavuta, city of 35,000 people. Right to the west, you have Netishin, about 25,000, because multiple towns connect here. And then right below Netishin, you have the nuclear power plant right here. Wide open. Let me go this way. These two reactors right here are the strongest reactors in Ukraine. I know the Zaporizhia nuclear power plant is the largest in Europe. It puts out the most power, but remember that has 6 units. Khmelnitsky has 2, and they are almost finished with 3, and then 4 is being built. When Khmelnitsky's finished, it probably will be the strongest, and that's the projection. So what we have is some interesting things that happened last night. What I'm going to tell you is how we understand it. Zhenya and I worked on this all day. First of all, Slavuta was hit, and this is the amount of damage done. 36 injured, 20 in the hospital, 2 still in critical. In Slavuta, a hospital was hit. 282 apartment buildings have damage. Think about that for a second. 282. 74 buildings of infrastructure, including schools, infrastructure facilities like those thermal plants, 1,404 homes. This is what took damage. In Netishin, there was damage in the village, the town, but also the administrative building at the nuclear power plant. And I'm going to take you in and show it to you right here. This building right there, right across the road in the other building here from the reactor. Now listen, the drone, of course, cannot destroy that reactor. They are built like fortresses. We understand that. But with the people that we were talking with today, that's not the purpose. The purpose was not to destroy it or cause a disaster. The purpose was to validate whether it was hit directly or with debris, that it can be hit. Folks, it was hit with a Shaheed traveling 80 kilometers an hour. What is a Kindle going to do if they really want to hit it? This is the point of what happened. I can tell you right now, 100%, the nuclear power plant administrative building took damage. It's right across the road from the reactor. Ladies and gentlemen, this thing is, let me do this. From the edge of Netishin, it's 3 kilometers. 3 kilometers. So you can have debris fall that way, and it very well may have, but it's really interesting that debris hit exactly where it did. Now, I'm also going to tell you tonight that Ukraine reported that 11 out of 11 Shaheeds were taken out of the air. I'm here to tell you tonight, that's not true. That is not true. And you say, okay, then why are you supporting a regime that's lying about their stuff? they're not lying. Well, they did. But it's calculated. You know, listen, one of the major reports coming out of Ukraine today was we are very concerned because our military age men that have left the nation are not coming back. And we are running out of people. They're going to run out. And if Ukraine is posting every day, this drone hit this target, this drone hit this target. Listen, if they reported that there were direct hits or even close, their people are gone. They're going to leave. They're going to run away. And Ukraine can't handle that right now. So whether deflected or not, the nuclear power plant administrative building was hit and took damage. Now, Slavuta was also hit very hard. And do not take it from me, but let's take it from the mayor of Slavuta being interviewed. Listen to this man. We've got him translated perfectly for you.
And now we have the mayor of the city of Slavuta on the air. What's the current situation there in Slavuta? Well, God bless. In fact, today is a very tragic day for us because there's a lot of damage in the Slavuta city. We have a very peaceful city. We do not have any military units. In general, we were expecting some local damage because we have warned the country, but what the Russians did last night, we didn't think about it. And we really were not prepared for it. There was a lot of damage. All 28 of our schools were damaged. The damage of different levels, different buildings, our hospitals, industrial enterprises, many multi-story buildings have damage in the private sector as well. We're currently taking recovery measures. First of all, of course, the medical institutions, and we're working on restoring schools and kindergartens. How many people were affected? 18 people were injured, 2 of whom are in an intensive care unit, including a boiler room worker from the plant. We wish you a quick recovery from all the damage after this attack and a quick recovery for the people after the Russian attack. Thank you very much.
So there you have it. That's directly from the mayor. Now, Shirley Phelps, I know you've been there. You've been to Slavuta. She's from Seattle. Okay, she's from Longview, Washington, south of Seattle. She's been to Slavuta. There's no military in Slavuta. Now, I see you guys over there chatting and stealing my thunder. I can tell you right now that this is the explosion that happened. One of them. Now, I'm going to play that for you guys one more time, and then I'm going to tell you what happened. Okay. 1,000,000% that was Slavuta last night. 1,000,000%. Now, pretty sure it wasn't rockets. But something's goofy. Something's goofy. Now, it hit something that exploded. but I don't know what it was. Neither does Jania. But here's what I can tell you. Every drone that hits and blows up like that hits munitions. So when you come here, we're going to give you the truth. The truth is the nuclear power plant was hit at the administrative building, period. 1,000,000%. Secondly, that is not the damage that a shaheed can do alone. You say, well, how do you know that? Because I've watched thousands of them explode in 609 days. It hit something. I do not know if it was fuel. I do not know if it was munitions. The mayor says we have no military. I can tell you they have no military. That's 100%. But are they storing? I personally feel that's highly possible. They are storing. Okay? So when I title something nuclear power plant assault, that's a fact. 100%. That was not an accident. They were going after that, not to destroy it, but to prove a point. Secondly, those drones were not all deflected. That was a direct hit. And this is directly from my buddies in Khmelnitsky region. That was a direct hit. It hit something. I don't know what it hit, but I know it wasn't a car that had just filled up with 13 liters of benzene. Okay? So that's where we're at. With that said, we're always going to tell you the truth. Always. This one is no good. No good. Absolutely no good. And this is a problem. But I will tell you, Zelensky, I have him in the bottom right on purpose. Zelensky came out today, this evening, and directly said, Russia attacked the Khmelnitsky region nuclear power plant with a drone. They did this to validate that they can touch us in places where we thought it's not possible. That is Zelensky's quote. That man tells the truth. And that's the truth. 100%. Now, that's not good, guys, because that means, number one, there was very little air defense up there in that pocket. Number two, it hits something much more. You do not, listen, guys, you do not damage 282 apartment buildings, 74 buildings of infrastructure, 28 schools, 1,404 private homes. Whether it's walls blown out, windows blown out, shockwaves, you do not do that with a shaheed debris hitting the ground somewhere. It does it with pinpoint accuracy hitting the target. It hit something. That's where we're at. That's a problem, a big problem. This is what we've been focused on all night. It's a big, big problem. Jania and I have talked about this in depth. We only tell you the truth. The truth is, my title is the truth. Secondly, we're not getting all the information there. And I understand it. Morale, you don't want Russia to know, et cetera, et cetera. Russia knows because somebody told them already what was in Slavuta, if there were munitions there. There were munitions in Khmelnitsky 4 or 5 months ago when they smashed it. Do we know how they knew where to strike? No, that's easy. Collaborators. Absolutely, brother. Absolutely. Listen, Slavuta is a little teeny town. I know it's got 35,000 people, but it's small. You want to see the map? Let me pull it up for you. Nuclear power plant. Come over. This is Slavuta. You know, when we say, listen, when they say 1,000, over 1,000 homes took shockwave damage. This is what we're talking about. When they're talking about 282 residential buildings, this is what we're talking about. These types of buildings. It's a large city. It's 35,000 people, but it's a poor town. See if I can get down here. I'll just go right to the bus station. I'll show you what Slavuta looks like. I mean, this is it. This is Slavuta. This is been right on these sidewalks. This is Slavuta. Shopping center is what that says. You guys know as well as I know, it hit something. So we shall see. I promise you, we will get more information. Ricochet, I know where that place is, brother. I'm telling you, that's not a military base. 100%. Unless, what are you looking at? Are you looking at this? Hold on. Let me make Ricochet happy. All right. Here you go, buddy. Slavuta. I know you're not talking about what we were talking about on Twitter, because I'm telling you, that is not a military base. In fact, when I go in December, I'll take a picture and send it to you. I'll walk right on it. Are you referring to this? You're referring to this? Maybe. Look here. This is, looks like a, I mean, I can find out. Looks like wood products, but maybe. Out east of Slavuta, if that's what you're referring to be. Could be, but that explosion, I know for a fact, guys, I'll show it one more time. This explosion right here was in the center. Off to the center. Remember, this is wooded area. I don't know. I'm just telling you that's what happened. We'll find out. Zhenya will be getting us more information. Nope, the big plot. Zoom out. All right, we're having an adventure. That's a village. Send me the Google coordinates and I'll check it. Let's go. Let's do this. Let me rotate. That may help. You're still talking about this. That is not a base. I have been there. That is education, and that is where the Holocaust happened in Ukraine. It is not a military base. And when I go there in December, I will walk through that and make a video just for you, Ricochet. This area right here, guys, this entire area in these woods, up to 40,000 Jews were killed by the Nazis during World War II, right here. And if you walk out in the woods outside of Slavuta, they have multiple places, and this is one of them where the education center is right here. I've been there. You walk in the woods and you walk, let me do this. You walk over humps like this, all through those woods around Slavuta. They left the Jews buried there. There was no way to get them out. Outside of Slavuta, they have these huge water towers, and at the base of them, they have metal spikes that the Nazis had put there, and they would take the Jews up, throw them off, stab them, pick them up, throw them in the woods. They murdered them by the thousands and thousands around Slavuta. So it's terrible. I know it's huge. I know it's big. Trust me, guys. Trust me. I know that place. It is not a base. That is a marker. Thousands and thousands and thousands of Jews. That's not Bobby Yar, Rick Berry. No, it's not Bobby Yar. Bobby Yar's Kiev. This is Slavuta. In fact, I have, Shirley, if you're still in here watching the stream, you know, you've been there, all the Jews that were killed there. Yes, you got it, brother. That's what it was. I told you that on Twitter. That was where they were housed. This is like Auschwitz, guys. This is marked here for history. It's not a military base. There is no military base in Slavuta. Okay. Hope you guys are enjoying our, we're just trying to figure out the truth here, and we're working on it. So Zelensky said they hit us, and it's not good. This is a picture of those two power plants, two reactors, administrative buildings. So Zelensky also came out today and said, yes, Bobby Yar was at Kyiv. No, JDO, they haven't marked any of those places. None of them. Zero. You can look at a website and see some historical things. They have a roadside marker, and there are no tours. You do not go walk around. You'll say, well, how did you get there? Because I was with locals and we walked out there. Nobody knows. There's one spot where there's a Jewish menorah and the marker. You go to another spot, you'll see the water tower and the spikes still there where they killed Jews. You go by the housing where they stayed, but it's off the road. It's just held. And there are markers. Only locals know. There's no tour buses. It's not Dacha. It's not Auschwitz, but it's marked for Ukrainian history forever. And when I am in Ukraine, I promise you guys, I will go out there and I will film it and I will show it to you. You'll find very little about it. It is, I hope you guys can understand this. It's very sacred ground. When you're walking on it, you know that scores and scores and scores of people were murdered there. When you're walking over the dirt in those woods all around Slavuta, you're going up and down the hills. And then the local with you will say, hey, Greg, you know what you're walking on? I said, yeah, I'm walking through the woods on the dirt. He goes, no, you're literally walking over dead Jews. This is marked. They're not taken out, and we keep it quiet. So that's the real story, guys. This winter will be different. We will respond equally. So we are expecting, responses equal to what Russia does. So it'll be interesting. That was Zelensky today saying that. It'll be interesting if Ukraine responds. I can also tell you today that Ukraine strengthening their mobilization once again. And today they came out very clearly and said, we're having to mobilize very strongly because we have lost troops and we need new brigades. We've lost troops. It's tough. It's tough. The United States has a Speaker of the House, and yes, this directly affects Ukraine, directly affects Israel. All I can tell you is this: I don't know much about that guy, but Johnson 217, Jeffries 207. I don't know where Johnson stands right now, but I can tell you that he typically has been anti-Ukraine support. So this is what was shown today in Ukraine. They're watching it very closely. They're watching the war in Israel, as we've talked about, equal to that of their own. And this is a concern. We shall see what unfolds. We shall see what unfolds. The United States in various precarious positions right now, not only with what's happening in D.C., but also what's happening on our southern border, what is also happening throughout our country with the anti-Semitism and the hatred toward Israel, the support of Palestine, specifically Gaza, and additionally, the waning support for Ukraine. This is what's happening, and we really do not need a Speaker of the House that's going to be anti-Ukraine. That would not be good. So we'll see. I'm not judging the man. We'll see what unfolds, but we know how he voted in the past, and that was against more support. Trader Carlson put this out today, and I thought you guys would want to see it. That's in the Russian language. That is not in Ukrainian. This was on Tucker's channel today, explaining to the Russians how the border of NATO has increased against Russia. Just stupid. He's sitting there showing them Europe. Of course, you see there, I'll translate it for you, bottom left, Germany, Poland, Lithuania, Latvia, Estonia, go north to Finlandia, Finland. In the middle, the light blue is Švecia, which is Sweden. And to the left of that's Norvegia, Norway. Dania, it's Denmark. So all of those nations are NATO. So his thesis today was Sweden, it's all NATO. And now you've lost the Baltic Sea. That was what this map was for. So now you have a 1,340 kilometer border against Finland, how close St. Petersburg is, how close Moscow is, and you've lost the Baltic Sea. That's what he's talking about. It's unbelievable. Now, this was shown today on Tucker Carlson in Russia. It's some guy interviewing a former U.S. Marine military analyst. Brian Berletic gives disappointing assessment of the Ukrainian armed forces counteroffensive. And this is on Tucker Carlson's channel, that the Russians are, listen to me, it's going to be the #1 program in Russia, right, with Solovyov and Margarita Simonyan. They're flocking to it by the millions. They're flocking to it. Why? They're getting to see the American journalists talking in Russian, voiced over, bashing America and NATO and supporting their land. Here you go. This was on Tucker today.
Ukraine has no achievements. Ukraine has not achieved any success. They have completely exhausted their potential during the counteroffensive. They have thrown all of their last reserves into the battle. The brigades they've trained have already gone to war and still have not been able to break through Russia's first line of defense. And after that, there are more lines. They have no possibility of success or progress. Not possible.
No possibility of success, and that's the message pushing out on. Do we know if Tucker has implicitly given his permission for Russia to rebroadcast his Twitter show? Yes, he has given permission. And he did it based on the fact of media being fair and balanced and the ability to tell the truth. And his quote was, "You can't get the truth from any American media." So yes, he has given his permission for that. Now, I saw in here, Hernan, you have a question there. Are there air battles in the sky of Ukraine? Yes, there are. It's not really dogfights. Basically, what happens is they fire upon each other's lines with aircraft. Of course, Russia outmanned Ukraine with aircraft many, many, many to very few, and very few dogfights or jet-to-jet battles. Also, Russia is using bombers to drop guided bombs along the border, and the aircraft are always overhead, but not a lot of, you think about World War II dogfights, not a lot of that. There are, but not a lot now. Early in the war, there were. You can remember the Ghost of Kyiv. They were having dogfights over Kyiv, but not so much now. In fact, I can tell you, spending 5 months on the front line there, I never saw a dogfight. I saw plenty of airplanes, Ukrainian and Russian. Zhenya and I and our partner Oleg down in Mykolaiv, we were buzzed by a Russian fighter jet, fully loaded. We were just fortunate he didn't see us. The hill was protecting us. But aircraft is used big time. Beyond visual range engagements. That's what happens, yes. So, but yeah, they're running nonstop. The jets are rolling just like you'd see in a movie. I don't know how better to explain it. It's nonstop, both sides. Erdogan, remember about a month ago, he is, JDO, that's a good comment right there. Ukraine's planes are too few and too precious to go plane-to-plane fighting. That's correct. That's correct. Erdogan really showed his cards today, and I'm going to show you that. He made a speech. Additionally, I have a picture here with Putin because remember 4 or 5 weeks ago when they met in Sochi, Erdogan, the president of Turkey, who is NATO, congratulated and was very thankful for the meetings with his very dear friend. And I'm quoting, remember, very dear friend. Really interesting because now we see, NATO needs to kick Turkey out. That's easy. We're going to have a problem here. You guys know it. This is not rocket science. This is not 2001, the 9/11 and then the Iraqi war, Desert Storm. This is different. Nations are coming from everywhere to Israel. And now we're seeing rhetoric from our quote unquote allies. And I'm specifically talking about Erdogan. Now, before that, I do have a quote from Putin today where he talks about the attackums. He is asked a question by his personal reporter about the attackums. And Putin responds about the attackums. Here it is. Here it is this time.
How seriously can the attackums change the war situation, and how will Russia repel these attacks? War is war. And of course, I know they pose a threat. That goes without saying. But what is most important is that these things are fundamentally incapable of changing the situation on the front lines. It's not possible. This can be said for sure.
I think he's accurate. I really do. I'm sorry to say that, but we tell you the truth here. You know who we support. The attackums, he respects them, and they will make a difference. But in the long run, unless Ukraine has a lot of them and a lot more stuff, I'm not sure how much they can move the lines. Russia's already moving back their helicopters. They're moving back their planes. We'll see, because right now Ukraine has the limited range attackums. Maybe that changes. We shall see. Remember, we only comment about what we know. Attackums can change downtown Moscow. I saw your comment in here also about, isn't the Hamas leaders in Turkey now? Yeah, not only Hamas, but there was a Iranian delegation there, as well as Hezbollah delegation in Turkey. That is correct, 100%. They were there meeting, discussing the situation. So, yeah. Somebody else, Turkey and Hungary needs to remove themselves from NATO, Mark, and the EU, but they're fewer. Putin won't allow them to. It's his insurance policy. I don't disagree with that at all. Absolutely, Putin's playing the cards there very wisely. You know, we've made the chess my English comparison. We've made the chess comparison from the get-go. And, you know, right now, a lot of chess moves being made. And we'll see who makes the best ones. Hernan, Turkey, massive drone power. That's a fact. That's a fact. We'll see. We will see. That's all I can say. Now, you may be asking, what did Erdogan say today? Well, I'm glad you asked. I'm going to show you.
Şimdi buradan İsrail'e ve dünyaya sesleniyorum. Toplantılar yapıyorlar.
Okay, I won't bore you with that. That's what he said. I have no idea, and I had nobody to translate it or voice it over, except I do have the translation written out. Analogy, that's right. That's the word I'm looking for. So what did he say? He said, Hamas is not a terrorist organization, but a liberation organization fighting to defend its land. The West owes you a lot. Turkey owes you nothing. What else did he say? Almost half of the victims of Israeli attacks on Gaza are children. This demonstrates deliberate cruelty aimed at committing crimes against humanity. I'm just going to make one statement there. I assume he had a miracle in his life this morning before the speech. And prior to that, he was not only blind, but he also was deaf and had all of his senses removed. And somehow he had a miracle over the last few hours, because I assume he did not see or hear about what Hamas did as they attacked Israeli civilians. I assume that's not deliberate cruelty in Erdogan's viewpoint, and now Israel defending their sovereign land given to them by God. I guess he doesn't see that part. Israeli attacks on Gaza are a sign of murderous tendencies, I'm quoting, guys, and mental illness, both among those who carry them out and those who support them. Who's he talking about? The United States of America, Great Britain, and others. Hamas is not a terrorist organization, but a group of liberators and mujahideen who are fighting to protect their lands and compatriots. We will do everything against Israel, both, listen closely right here, diplomatically and militarily. Now, I was born at night, but I was not born last night. If they're going to move diplomatically and militarily against Israel, then that divides them from NATO and divides them from the United States and Great Britain and France and Germany and on and on and on. With that statement right there, true colors are being shown. When you see that statement, go ahead and add Turkey to the coalition with Russia and Iran and Hamas and Hezbollah, China, North Korea. Just go ahead and add them, because the man is showing his true colors and where Turkey stands. And remember, he's not going anywhere. He was just reelected. His final statement, these are quotes. The United States, together with Israel, will lose because they oppose justice. I would love, well, I can't say that. Just listen, everything I've ever shared for 609 days, I have documented. There may come a day where I will replay this slide and say, how's that F-35 working out for you, Mr. Erdogan? Unbelievable. and that's our ally, why doesn't the United States or NATO, forget NATO, why doesn't the United States make a statement and say, hold it, you are our ally, you can't make those statements against us. Forget Israel. You can't tell us we're going to lose. Great Britain should say, you can't tell us we're going to lose. What are you talking about? Thought we were on the same team. This is coming to a head. It's not going to change. And here in the United States, George Washington University, which is in Washington, D.C., students got together and started putting up images on the walls. No. Not F6. No, F-35s. I'm talking with United States pilots. Yeah, that's what I'm referring to there. Go ahead and tell us we're going to lose, then let us put some of those boys in the air and see what happens. No, not Ukraine. Us. Our boys. George, divestment from Zionist genocide. Now, guys, I have hundreds of these, and I'm not going to show you hundreds of these from all over the United States. Israel's collecting them. And I've got them all 50 states. The marches, the markings, the flags, it's unbelievable, the anti-Semitism that is growing like crazy. And I will tell you this. Jania and I were having a conversation about 3 hours ago, and it was about this. He goes, Greg, there is a lot of talk going on in Ukraine right now about the comparison to 1938 and 39 with the rise of anti-Semitism in Europe and to what we are seeing in the world right now, not just in the United States, but in the entire world. And like I've told you guys many times, many smart Ukrainian people over there, and they're already doing analysis because history may not repeat, but it rhymes. So we'll see. But that's George Washington University. Free Palestine from the river to the sea. Glory to our martyrs. Yeah, that's on the walls of George Washington University. Now, they've went after the students. We tell you the truth, but ridiculous. You're right, Ricochet. It's everywhere. Interesting thing here, and I think we'll close out. No, I've got doggy names. Israel Defense Forces. So the bottom part of the tweet is from the United Nations Relief. Warning, if we do not get fuel urgently, we will be forced to halt our operations in the Gaza Strip as of tomorrow night. Israel Defense Forces reply, these fuel tanks are inside Gaza. They contain more than 500,000 liters of fuel. Ask Hamas if you can have some. Brilliant. Do you see a similarity between Ukrainian Defense Forces and Israel Defense Forces, how they kind of put it out there a little bit? I thought it was very interesting. Final thing. Listen, we got a partner in Zhenya. He doesn't miss anything. I'll get to that in a second, Mark. The most popular dog names in Ukraine for whoever asked last night, and I didn't write it down, but I promised I'd get them for you. Zhenya sent me this. The names are Admiral, Buddy, Boomtuk, Bach, Bo, Vjik, Woody, Bean, Bumblebee, Doodle, Jork, Ziggy, Iggy, Yosia, Like, Beam, Meme, Noah, Parrots, which means pepper, Potar, Pooch, Sachok, Smart, Toy, Toto, Turbo, Fanny, Candied, Cheese, Choops, Shrek, and Shocker. So whoever was wanting to name their dog after a Ukrainian dog name, there's your choices. Let me go one last thing here. I can tell you right now, coming out from IDF, is there is something going on in Gaza. And additionally, they are getting ready to release a report that Representative Rashida Tlaib raised funds from Hamas and to Hamas. And they've got the proof. Well, it could be an interesting day tomorrow. We'll see what happens. Don't mess with those guys. We'll see. Hey, guys, thank you for being here. Great stream. One thing we always do, and that is we do our best to tell the truth, whether it puts egg on the face of Ukraine, egg on the face of ourselves. When we're wrong, we'll admit it. We do everything we can. Tom P., a little late, just got here. Welcome to you. Blasting on multiple runs. So it's 5 Well, I can tell you, Mark McLaren, 5 a.m. will be the Muslim call to prayer. So it's 4:58 a.m. That's where we're at. So that's probably a part of it as well. All right, guys, be blessed. Thank you. Appreciate all of you. And together, all of us make a great team, great conversation. Be blessed. And we'll see you in 48 hours on Friday night, 9 p.m. Eastern, regular time. Unless we need to go again, we'll see you tomorrow night. Make sure you have the notifications on YouTube. Make sure you continue to like, share, comment, tell others. You guys be blessed, and we'll see you soon.
Slava Ukraini!